What happened?
Yeah, we had a guy that quit his job at one of my last jobs. Yeah, he went down in a flame.
I love this. The story's so good we don't even set up the topic.
Sorry.
How's that for a
I
tease
think
off
we're
the top of
missing
the
like
show?
sound or something.
Yeah, it was
weird.
kind of an abrupt start. I didn't.
Hello?
All right, Director Craig, go to black. We'll start it over again.
Take two.
Actually, don't do that. This is live. Hey, thanks for stopping by the Today in AZ After Show on the 12 News Facebook page. We know you've got a lot of stuff going on in the mornings, and so to have us on, at least in the background, is a pretty cool thing. We appreciate it. If it's your first time on the show, this is not a news program. Keep that in mind. You will expect no serious hard news here, or you should not expect it unless it comes up inadvertently. Otherwise, we're shooting the stuff. I don't like saying the S word on here. Shooting poop.
Shooting poop.
We're just shooting poop together. It's four people shooting poop.
Poop.
Okay, go ahead. Get into the topic. Now that we've got introductions out of the way.
So we're asking, why did you quit your last job?
People like us?
All right. So the thing is, many people say it's actually because of their boss. 57% of people in this new study say that they left their job specifically because of their manager.
Another third of people have not quit yet because of their boss, but they're mulling it over.
Yeah.
So tell us your horror stories. Have you had a bad boss? Have you quit your last job in any exciting way, going down with a blaze of glory? Leave a comment below and we'll get to it. Let's get into them right away because there's a couple good ones already.
Mine is not loading, so go ahead, Paul.
Well, Jim says that he bailed on his job because there was a bad culture there. Christine says, I just didn't like to work. I don't blame you on that. I don't like to work either.
Yeah.
Lana says, I quit my last job in AZ to move me and my family to Illinois to become a full-time caregiver to my older brother. Lana, I'm sure he appreciates that very much. Edmund says, to start my own business. I feel like that's something that's more and more common these days. There are ways that
When the
entrepreneurs
side hustle takes
becomes
over.
bigger than the real job.
That's the dream.
Grace says unsafe work practices by management in a private healthcare setting. Well, way to draw a line in the sand there.
Yeah.
Grace.
I know. I'm like, wait, are you referring to a story earlier this year?
This is a fun one here. Joe says because the director had little man syndrome and was terrible to us employees in addition to employers wanting us to eat, sleep, and live the job.
Oh, we've all had that little Napoleon manager. It's always a middle manager, right? I had one of those weasels back in the day.
One of them
It was
weasels.
like, oh my gosh, so annoying. I've had so many bad managers, but I've also seen people quit in epic style.
Okay,
which
go
is
ahead.
like,
Give us the story.
Tell us.
So one guy quit during the interview. This is like, So yeah, we had a guy who came to interview at the station. And, you know, he was flying in from God knows where, and he had his little wheelie suitcase, and he left it by the news director's door as he goes to all the different interviews and meets with people and this and that. Like, halfway through the day, I guess something inside of him was like, this is not the place for me. So he's like, I'll be back. I'm going to the bathroom. Never came back.
Are you serious?
Left the suitcase and just left.
That's the fantasy.
Quit during the interview. I know.
The
Nothing.
escapist,
Never heard from him again.
in me is just enamored with
Look at
that.
anxiety.
because You're just burning the boats, right? Like you're leaving everything
Yeah.
behind, including your suitcase. Although I'm not sure that was intentional. There's probably
He
a
probably got
panicked moment when he
nervous.
got out of there and
Yeah,
was like, do I come back for it?
He's like, I can't now.
No, forget it.
We had to mail it to him.
Wow,
It's
good for you.
essentially, not me personally, the newsroom
my
secretary.
God.
I had an assistant news director who I think she knew things were going badly. And then she's like, oh, my son is sick, so I need to go pick him up from school. Never saw her again.
Oh, are you
Gone.
serious?
Just like literally vanished.
So I worked in a very small market in my first full-time on-air job, market 208, WBKB. We barely know broadcasting in Alpena, Michigan.
Nice.
And we had a very hard time getting people to work there because
I
it
can't
is an
imagine
extremely
why.
small market in the middle of nowhere. And honestly, even people fresh out of college have higher aspirations than working for a place like that. And so your subset of potential employees is made smaller by that. But it's also made smaller by the fact that the job pays like $17,000 a year. And so you have to find
you're
someone
rolling in it.
who wants a
Compared to my
shot
first job.
at making a name in the business, but also is willing to start extremely low and live below the poverty line, right?
Yeah.
So when we get a candidate on the hook, it's not like we can afford to fly them out per se. Like we pretty much just have to take them for their word that they are who they say they are and hope that they'll show up when we hire them. This woman, I don't even remember her name, and it's a shame because I'd love to see what she was doing now. We hired her to be like one of our anchors at the station, and Monday was her start day or whatever, and she was chronicling her cross-country journey, her move up to BFE, Alpena, Michigan, posting, oh, we're stopping in Kansas City, we're in Cleveland, we're staying at this hotel, can't wait to get up there and start my new job. No reason to think that anything was amiss. Well, Monday morning came, and she never showed up.
Did you send out a search crew?
Initially, it's like, well, something must have happened.
Right.
And so you made the phone calls and the texts and the
Amnesia.
emails. She never responded to us. No. She just never came. Like some point, I forget where she was coming from, but it was a multi-day journey. But at some point along the journey, she just bailed on it and was like,
Do you think she went
Wait,
on a
did you make
bender?
sure she was okay?
yeah, like we checked in with the social media in the following days, and eventually she returned to her pages and just never mentioned it. Like she just moved
That's
on.
odd.
So like the only thing I can think of is she got a better offer from
Right.
somebody.
She was like, you
en
turn,
route.
sorry.
And was like, forget it, I'm not moving here. But to not call or text or send an email, like,
Very
it's not like she was working there. Yeah, right. And so, like, that kind of, for me, it's a small business. We all
It's a
know
very small
it's one
business.
degree of separation
Yes.
for all of us. I would have never allowed her to get another job in this business had she tried. If anyone had ever asked me, what did you think of so-and-so?
Yeah.
It would have been like, she never showed up for work.
Yeah,
so,
that's kind of a rule out.
But that was so weird. Like, forget about quitting.
bizarre.
She quitted en route to the new job.
I had something similar to that, like in this job situation. So I was about to sign with a market in Yuma, with a station in Yuma, small market, everybody knows here, you know. And 2 days before I was about to sign, one of the local radio stations reached out to me saying they were looking for the morning co-host to help out, right? So I go for the interview, and I'm like, okay. At first they're like, no, maybe we'll have you do sales, and I'm like, nope, I don't want to do sales. I'm good. So I was about to go to Yuma to do my thing, and then they called. They're like, we want you to be the host. So I'm like, bye, Yuma.
Wow.
Good for you.
Yeah, and then I went and did the radio show instead, and then it took me a little bit longer to get in the news world, but hey, it worked out. I think,
But you
know?
told Yuma you were not coming.
Yeah,
You
but
didn't
it was
just
like 2
ghost
days
them.
before, though. They're probably like, what? Like, you know?
Yeah.
I was like, well.
You could have been like the big main anchor in Yuma, living
Mrs.
your
Yuma.
best
Oh,
life,
yes. Mrs.
married to
Yuma.
some Yumite.
So have any of you quit a job in like a shock and awe fashion?
Oh, I'm so bored.
I did it once. I did it one time.
I
Yeah.
can see you doing that.
Yeah.
I've actually told this
Yeah.
story on this show before, so I'm sorry to those of you who have heard it before.
This is
I'll
a
try to
new
keep it quick.
audience.
My first TV job was at this place called WJRT in Flint, Michigan. I was a production tech, so I ran cameras, I made graphics, I was actually a director for a little while. And I had a boss there. His name was Rick, and I don't have any problem throwing his name out there. He was the most verbally abusive boss I've ever had. He would take me into his office and just undress me for things completely out of my control. He one time was like pounding his fist, told me I need to get my life together, and what a fat POS I was, and it was bad. It was so bad. I hated him, detested him. So when I finally got that job in Alpena, I had to quit. And so I wrote a lovely email, one of those goodbye emails that is so emotional and sprawling and checkered with little memories.
gosh.
And so I had a paragraph dedicated to every department at the station. And in the paragraph to my fellow production employees, I made an acrostic. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with an acrostic, it's where the first letter of each sentence spells something.
Okay.
And I spelled F-U Rick with the acrostic. But it wasn't lined up, so like you would have to know it's there to notice it. I told one guy, and then everyone found out about it. And management
Rick
was
was
very
none too
unhappy with me.
happy.
So unsurprisingly, I burned some bridges with that.
Right,
move.
yeah.
No regrets about it, though. He deserved that and then some. But yeah, good times.
We've had people quit like that.
Wait, who has quit here?
I can't say.
Communicate with your eyes.
I'm all spelling it out.
Use acrostic.
Let's get to some more of your comments real quick before we move on. Oh my gosh, there's so many in here. You guys are playing along with us
Yeah.
today. We
Like our
appreciate
stories.
that. Gina, watching all the way out in New Jersey, says she still watches us
Jersey.
every day. We appreciate that.
Yay.
So Gina says, I always wanted to be a nurse, but I had twins while in college and never got to graduate. I was an honor student, 13 credits from graduating, and then boom, couldn't finish. I also have a mentally ill 19-year-old, so all my kids stopped me from being who I wanted to be, which was a nurse. She loves helping people and taking care of them, also taking care of her mother-in-law.
Oh, good.
Well, we appreciate the work you're doing out there,
You
Gina.
are a caretaker.
Patricia says, I had a toxic boss, just looking for a new job now for the same reason. 3 years, never had a sincere positive comment on anything I've done. No plan, a annoying work, but the boss is the biggest motivation for leaving. That's what that survey seemed to indicate as
Bad
well.
bosses
Yeah.
are the worst.
Yeah, we
Oh
have
my
Jane said
gosh.
the same thing because of very rude management, because I was micromanaged by 20-somethings who enjoy talking down to 6-year-olds. That's from Renee. Oh my gosh, that must be hard too. Yeah, like when your higher up is younger than you. Like, what do you do?
Deborah says, I could no longer take being verbally abused by my boss after putting up with it for 18 years.
Yeah.
What was the story about waking up in a bad mood? Because Jim was saying that some people quit because their coworker comes in a bad mood 6 days a week, let's say. How do you think we feel,
You
Jim?
don't know how many times I thought about quitting.
We had a story on the show this morning.
Not
where,
me.
No, this one.
Keep pointing.
Thumb further. There you go.
Something like 6 days per week on average, people are waking up in bad moods because of
just
lack of sleep or
awful.
disturbed sleep. And
was
I
upsetting.
agree. I play the I want to quit and leave everything behind game every morning.
I know.
That
Sometimes it's
escapist
hard.
fantasy, leaving the suitcase behind. I'd like to just leave
That's
my
you
apartment
every
behind
day?
and just drive off into
Oh
the
my
sunset.
gosh.
I do that sometimes when you're trying to go to bed and you're missing out on like something
Yeah.
like a fun event
Yeah.
or something, and everybody's out. And I'm
Oh
like,
no.
do I really need this job tomorrow?
No, what was it? I read something recently. It's the opposite. It's the joy of missing out. That's
JOMO.
me. I have
Yeah.
JOMO.
Really?
Because I'm always like, oh, I'm in my PJs and my cozy socks, and I know somebody's in a crowd somewhere being
Yeah,
a crazy
that's
person.
true.
I do. I love it.
There was some show at Crescent Ballroom last night, and I got invited, and it was like, it starts at 7, and I was like, oh, that's my bedtime. I'm so sorry.
Snoop Dogg was here last night, and everybody's like, "Are you going?"
Wait,
He's
where?
going on at 8 at the Van Buren.
Oh no, Snoop was at the Van Buren.
Yes. And
That's such a small venue for Snoop.
he was doing his thing
SNOOP,
over there.
DODD?
Yeah. Snoop.
I knew you had to do that.
So
Yeah.
so he was there, and everybody was like, "You're gonna go?" And I'm like, "No." And I maybe should have broke my bedtime for it, but
It
Yo,
has
next
to
time you
be,
know Snoop's
yeah,
in
really
town, you
good.
need to holler at your boy, would you?
I was
'Cause would've
actually
gone
gonna
out
try
for
to
that.
reach out to
Gone out for
them.
that?
I would've gone out for
Yeah.
Snoop.
Wow.
Yeah, it's Snoop.
Interesting.
It's Snoop. I know. We should have reached out to him to hang out with us. He'd probably still be up.
Yeah, that's
Snoop could have been on the show this morning.
Yes. Dang it. I'm sorry.
so close.
Missed opportunity. Hey, by the way, speaking of stuff to do, just give me 2 seconds of your time to explain the event for you. If you haven't heard about this before, it's called Ignite Hope. It's put on by Phoenix Children's Hospital every year. There's a really inspiring story behind it. I don't mean to butcher it, so I won't go into tremendous detail, but more or less, 8 years ago, there was a girl who was in the hospital spending the holidays at Phoenix Children's, and some of her friends from school felt really bad for her that she was cooped up in there. And so they went outside of Phoenix Children's. If you've ever been out there off Thomas Road, the windows that the kids have overlook a sort of courtyard and then Thomas there. Her friends from school came out with candles, and they waved them and sang carols outside. And it was this really emotional moment that meant the world to her and her family, because even though she couldn't celebrate Christmas the way that she typically did, she felt like those people were there with her. She has unfortunately since passed, but every year her family and her friends carry on this tradition, and it has become a huge thing. In fact, for the first time ever, in year 8 of Ignite Hope, there are now 2 locations, not just the one on Thomas, where we meet at North High School and walk over to Phoenix Children's. There's another one out in the West Valley this year. Mitch Carr is actually our 12 News representative out there. If you like Mitch, even if you don't like Mitch and you're out in the West Valley,
Everybody likes
you should
it.
go check
Yeah,
that out.
I love Mitch.
I will be emceeing for the 3rd year Ignite Hope here in the Valley, over off of Thomas Road. And it's a privilege and an honor to be a part of this every single year. I promise you, if you've never done it before, there's nothing to be afraid of. You get one of those little candles. We all meet at North High School, 3:30, 4 o'clock, somewhere in there before sunset. There's a ton of events. There's always people in costumes. Stormtroopers are out there. They got the Disney princesses for the kids. There's a ton of local businesses donating money to Phoenix Children's. It's a big event. All are welcome. And they hand you one of those candles. It's about a mile walk. It's very slowly paced. It's paced by Santa Claus on a fire truck. We go very slowly right down Thomas. They shut the whole thing down, and we show up outside of Phoenix Children's Hospital where all the kids are in the windows waiting for us. We sing some carols.
so
We do a little
sweet.
program out there. Listen, if this doesn't tug at your heartstrings or make you feel like you're making the world a slightly better place by participating, I need to check for your pulse, because I break down in tears every single year being a part of this. But honestly, it is such a worthy expenditure of your time. Just carve out an hour or two for us on Saturday. It's this Saturday. We're meeting at North High School, 3:30, 4 o'clock. Even if you get there at 5, that's totally fine. The event doesn't start until the sun goes down. You can register right now at 12news.com/Ignite Hope. If you have any questions, hit me up on Facebook or Twitter. I'll be happy to answer them, and hopefully we'll see you out there this weekend.
Nice. I
Breathe.
know. Wow.
It's one of the few
You got a
things I'm
lot in
actually
there, yeah.
passionate about. It really is. It's one of those things where it makes you count your blessings and then some. And to know that you can do anything at all to make the holidays just a little bit better for those kids, I can't even imagine. I cannot even imagine.
Yeah.
The parents watching this morning that have been through something that would lead your child to be in PCH, whether it's injury or illness, I cannot relate to your strength, and I just want to let you know that you're appreciated, and hopefully we'll see you out there on Saturday.
Oh,
All right,
someone
before
said
I-
they'll be there.
Who's being out there? Theod is being out there. All right.
Yeah.
Well, we're looking forward to it. I can't wait to see
Yeah,
it.
that's
All right, before I start crying, let's get to our ICYMI. In case you missed it on Today in AZ this morning, this is one of our favorite moments from the show.
I know Trader Joe's and I got Goodyear in my pocket, selling my wares from the trunk of my car. This is how I rock it.
Oh my gosh.
Is that Chris Jericho? Somebody at home is laughing. Finally, in other news, the city of Goodyear wants a Trader Joe's so badly, they were willing to make this video. It's part of a larger campaign called #Joe's in Goodyear. The video is about a rogue Trader Joe who wants to keep the grocery chain out of his town.
Oh.
But the people of Goodyear are not having it. In fact, the city wants a Trader Joe's so badly, the mayor will be reading a proclamation tomorrow morning at the new Circle K on North Pebble Creek Parkway.
Like thumbing his nose at the Circle K. I feel like that's not respectful. So here's Ryan now to explain more about this social media campaign sweeping Goodyear.
There's actually that hashtag, and people are actually tweeting about this. Check out some of the people in Goodyear. Why is there no Trader Joe's in Goodyear? That's what Mad says. I love where I live, but you need a Joe's in Goodyear. That's the real hashtag, and this is Goodyear, Arizona. Check out this video right here. They actually have a campaign where they drop a Trader Joe's in.
Oh my gosh.
It fits right there. Looks
Unbelievable.
great.
And then all the people show up like it's The Walking Dead, like all the zombies running in over here to Trader Joe's. So you have to wonder, like, gosh, are they like hours and hours away from the closest Trader Joe's? Actually, no, they're not. This is Goodyear right here on the map.
Okay.
And let's zoom out.
All right.
So the closest Trader Joe's
It's the Camelback
would be in
one, isn't it?
Surprise,
Oh,
and then
okay.
that one in Camelback in
Yeah.
Phoenix here. You're talking about a half hour or so
That's
away.
a long time
It's
to
still
drive.
a long
Yeah.
ways away, I guess. I mean, if you're Trader Joe's, I don't know how you don't come to Goodyear now. It's a good social media campaign if that's really what you're looking for.
That's a long way to drive for your frozen samosas, but I guess they're just that good.
They must be.
Wow, they're passionate about it.
They really. See, I've never gotten to Trader Joe's, but I think I'm missing out.
You're missing out a
Apparently.
little bit. I mean, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
That said, like there are some items from Trader Joe's that
Are very unique too.
you can't get anywhere else.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so like it's worth the stop. See, for me, Trader Joe's is only like technically 15 minutes from downtown,
Mm-hmm.
but it's in that little part of Camelback around 20th Street
20th
there,
Street, yeah.
where it is a zoo
Yes.
any time of day you go there. And so I like the people in Goodyear, I have to steel myself for the journey.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like even though I'm not driving a half an hour, it often feels like that.
Yeah.
And so it's
What do you get?
It's tough. The tikka masala is really good. So they have a whole bunch of like freshly made like meal options, not frozen, like fresh refrigerated that go bad in a few days.
Okay.
So you can get a little home cook in that way. And their frozen section is like so legit, especially for bachelors or people who are cooking for one. Great options there. They also have a ton of like holiday cookies and stuff that are like really hard to turn down.
There's this peppermint bark that everybody talks
Yeah,
about.
the
that they
peppermint
sell.
bark is one of those.
Everybody's like, it's amazing.
Yeah,
from
they have
there.
like little mini gingerbreads that are really good too.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to be careful in a place like that
I
because
think
you'll spend
that's
some money
a
in
place
a
for
hurry.
browsing.
Yeah.
I don't do a lot of browsing these
Go browse. Go
days.
look. There's like 5 aisles. It's not even that big.
They have wine.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm back.
Well, she'll be at the
I'm
Camelback
back.
location signing autographs.
I was starting to glaze over, but I'm back.
It's like, I will be there.
The Fry's wine selection, though, is pretty fantastic. I got to tell you.
That is true. They do
Rachel
have a
Cole
wine
got me
selection.
hip to that gig.
Whole Foods is sneaky good. Now I try not to go into whole paycheck too often because you're going to spend it there.
It's too much.
Soup and a
I
salad.
like people
$15
watching at Whole
there.
Foods.
Well, beautiful people.
Yeah.
At Whole
I'm like,
Foods.
oh.
The most
Good
beautiful
place
people in
to
the valley
meet
are at Whole
someone.
Foods.
Oh, I've hung out there a few times just waiting.
Yeah.
Just lurking, waiting for Mr. Right.
Like,
I got a
Vanessa
gym.
doesn't even drink
I'm
coffee.
like, I
She's
get a
sitting at the
juice,
coffee
and
bar.
I walk around because the gym's right there too.
She's standing in the frozen section over at Trader Joe's just waiting for some handsome fellow to walk by. I can't reach this ice cream.
Yes, there you go.
One knight in shining
That's
armor.
not a bad strategy.
All right, moving on. Let's
Freshly squeezed juice me before we say goodbye.
Yes, let's do this. Okay, so get ready for a reboot, ya filthy animals.
Oh, it's Home Alone.
Yes, the latest Home Alone reboot to be streamed on Disney Plus has has found its lead roles. Breakout star Archie Yates will play the lead, but it's not the iconic Kevin McAllister. Instead, he will play a new character. Office fave Ellie Kemper and Rob Delaney will play a couple in the new movie who, quote, go to war with the kid who has stolen a priceless heirloom. Wow. But it really isn't Home Alone without Macaulay Culkin or Kevin McAllister, is it?
No, and they did this with, what was it, Home Alone 3, I believe, was not Kevin McAllister, it was some other kid and some other... Listen, it's not for me.
Yeah.
Like, you're just never going to replace the nostalgia of these movies. And to make it, there's some couple scheming against the kid who stole an heirloom.
Instead of the other two
I need
guys.
Marvin Harry. I need two clumsy burglars.
I'm not a reboot fan. I'm like, is there no new idea left on this planet?
I was just looking on the internet a little while ago, and they said there was a reboot for Ghostbusters for the first time in 32 years or something.
The all women.
Yeah, this is another
this
men's
is another.
version,
Yeah, it's supposed to be
But
similar.
the all
to
women one did not go over well
did not,
either. Not
no.
because it was just not well made.
I didn't hear it was a very good movie.
It was just not a good movie. Period. End
Not
of
being
story.
sexist, just a bad movie.
Yeah, exactly. So I can't. Let's
Yeah,
just
we need
do
to leave the
new
reboots alone.
Movies, new television. That's what I'm over reboots.
You
I
can
gotta be
never
honest.
replace Home Alone.
I got a theory for you here, though. Home Alone, the reason why it tugs at our heartstrings and the reason it holds such a nostalgic
Business,
place
yeah.
in our minds is because it captivated an era in which you could not pick up your cell phone and say, "Hey, police, there are burglars trying to break into my place," or "Hey, Mom, yeah, I must have missed the flight. I'll see you shortly."
Yeah.
And then that's the end of the movie, right?
Right.
This is still a home phone situation without internet, and so
Like, you have to suspend
can't really do
all
Home Alone now.
realities.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
to
it would
make
have
it
to be like
work.
an apocalypse scenario in order for that to work.
Which, it's I just.
And would you really forget about your kid that long?
Right.
You, I'm sure, noticed right away. I would hope, right?
We hope.
Missing.
If not, you might end up on the news.
Thanks for joining the chat today, guys. We appreciate you. Y'all played nice, too. There were no
Yeah.
incendiary comments down here.
I think they're all mad at their middle managers.
Yeah,
they got me hired today.
they're venting to
Take it
us.
off on the bosses. All right,
Yeah.
guys. Time for us to go.
Have
we
a
love you.
great
We'll see you back here at 7:30. A Friday edition of the
Yay, Friday.
which means especially unhinged, probably.
Yeah.
Well, we did the robot yesterday.
Oh, you missed it. Yeah, we all did.
Did a group robot.